If you run a content team, walk to a whiteboard right now and write down two numbers: hours your team spent making content this month and hours your team spent distributing it. For most enterprise teams, those numbers are wildly out of step. 90% making, 10% getting the work seen. The result is the most expensive mistake in marketing. Brilliant content made carefully that almost nobody outside the building ever encounters. I'm Asher. You're listening to Content is Currency from Table 8, and over the next 8 minutes we're going to fix the inverted math. By the end, you'll have a distribution brief, a way to attach a real distribution plan to every asset, and the measurement loop that tells you whether anyone actually saw the work. No new tools, no new headcount, just a flip in how you think about the job. Let's go. A truth nobody likes to say out loud. Most enterprise content lives and dies inside one Slack thread. Someone makes it. Someone approves it. Someone posts it once. Then everybody pats each other on the back and starts on the next one. Meanwhile, the asset that took your team 3 weeks to produce gets one push to one feed and is invisible by Friday. You didn't have a content problem. You had a distribution problem. The work was good. The audience just never met it. And here's the part that hurts. Your team thinks the success metric was making the asset. Your CFO thinks the success metric is whether anyone outside the office cared. Those are not the same definition of success. The work isn't done when you hit publish. The work is done when the right person sees it. Imagine you spent 3 weeks cooking a feast, sourced the ingredients yourself, plated it like a Michelin restaurant, and then, when it's ready, you put it on the dining table, leave the house, and lock the door behind you. Nobody comes to eat. Nobody knew dinner was happening. The chef did extraordinary work, and the work fed nobody. That's most enterprise content. We invest in the cook, we obsess over the plate, and we forget the part where you'd actually invite people to the table, and then make sure they show up. Distribution is the invitation, the table setting, and the second helping. It's not a thing you do after the cooking. It's the same job. The chef who can't serve isn't a chef yet. They're a hobbyist with good knife skills. Here's why every enterprise team underweights distribution. Production is visible. It has rushes, edits, screenings, share it around moments. Distribution is invisible. It's a calendar entry, a paid spend, a spreadsheet of UTM links. The team gets dopamine from making the thing. Nobody gets dopamine from posting the thing. And so over time, the entire org grows skilled at production and atrophies at distribution. Then leadership looks at the numbers, sees flat reach, and concludes, we need better content. So they invest more in production. The wrong investment makes the same problem worse. The truth is the opposite. You don't need better content yet. You need to get the content you already made in front of more of the right humans. Until distribution is fixed, every dollar you spend on production is a dollar diluted. The system is 3 pieces and they nest into each other. Piece 1, the distribution brief, a one-pager that gets written before production starts, sitting next to the creative brief. It answers, where does this go? Who pushes it? What does success look like in 30 days? Piece 2, the distribution plan, a fixed playlist of channels, formats, and timings attached to every single asset, no exceptions. Piece 3, the measurement loop, a weekly review where the team looks at distribution actuals against the plan and asks one question: did we actually do what we said? That's it. 3 pieces, nothing fancy. The point isn't a new tool. The point is to make distribution the same kind of named, documented, reviewed work that production already is. Currently, it's an afterthought. Currently, it shows. The distribution brief is 1 page, written before the asset is commissioned, with 4 fields. Field 1, channels, not social. Name them. LinkedIn organic, LinkedIn paid, sales team email, partner newsletter. Specific. Field 2, multipliers. How does this asset stretch beyond its original format? Pull quote graphics, short clips, a blog version. Field 3, people. Who specifically posts, on whose account, on which day. Vague distribution dies, named distribution ships. Field 4, the success bar. A healthy 30-day result in numbers your CFO would defend, not good engagement. Specific reach, specific actions, small enough to get written, useful enough to get read, binding enough to change behavior. Without it, distribution is whatever the producer remembers to do at the end. With it, distribution becomes part of the build. The plan is the deployable version of the brief. Every asset, no exceptions, gets a fixed playlist. Day 1, it goes live on the primary channel, the channel where your audience actually spends time. Day 3, it gets repurposed into the secondary format, the short clip, the carousel, the pull quote. Day 5, sales gets the asset with a 1-line context note so they can use it in outbound. Day 7, the asset goes into a partner newsletter or guest distribution. Day 14, the asset gets a paid push to the segment that engaged organically. The dates are there because dates create accountability. The channels are there because nothing is left to "we'll see." A piece of content without a distribution plan is a piece of content that depends on luck. Luck is not a strategy. Luck is the gap your competitor will exploit. Once a week, on a fixed day, the team holds a 30-minute review. 1 agenda item. The team looks at every asset that shipped that week, and against each one, distribution plan versus distribution actuals. Did we actually do what we said? Most weeks, the answer for at least one asset is no. Someone forgot. Sales didn't get the brief. The paid push wasn't approved in time. Naming the gap weekly is the entire trick. You don't need a new dashboard. You don't need an analytics consultant. You need a 30-minute meeting that asks one question and writes the answer down. After 3 weeks of this loop, your team will be running distribution at 90% fidelity to plan. The discipline is the system. Without it, the brief and the plan become the same well-meaning documents that nobody actually uses. You can deploy this in 1 week. Day 1, pick 6 recent assets and reverse engineer a distribution plan for each. Notice how thin the plans look. That's the gap. Day 2, write the distribution brief template, 4 fields, 1 page. Pin it next to your creative brief template. Day 3, for the next asset in production, write the distribution brief before the producer gets the creative brief. Watch how it changes the conversation. Day 4, set the Friday weekly review on the calendar, 30 minutes, fixed agenda. Day 5, tell sales that asset distribution lands on their desk every Monday morning, with context. The system works because it makes distribution visible. Distribution wasn't broken because anyone was lazy. It was broken because nobody named it as work. Now it's named, dated, and reviewed. That's the system. Now go ship it. I'm Asher. This was Content is Currency from Table 8. We'll see you next episode.